This is not intended as retaliation, public shaming, or reputational manipulation. It is not a waiver of any kind. It is supplemental and cumulative, not substitutive. It is not intended as ongoing public argument, nor as any modification of the procedural posture already established. Its purpose is narrow: to eliminate any remaining claim of ambiguity regarding my own position before determining whether formal escalation is necessary. I have continued to observe public conduct that, in my view, reinforces rather than resolves the pattern of ambiguity, indirectness, and non-substantive handling already documented. I do not intend to publicly parse each additional instance. The pattern is sufficiently established. At this point, any uncertainty being maintained is not uncertainty about what I have expressed. It is uncertainty being maintained despite it. That distinction matters. My position is not internally conflicted, performative, or dependent on hidden motives. My identity, my intentions, and the harms I consider documented are clear to me and have been stated clearly. They do not require reinterpretation in order to be coherent. I reject any narrative that depends on portraying me as uncertain, insincere, or unable to understand my stated position. Such portrayals are false, materially harmful, and entirely non-consensual. I reiterate that procedural accountability and interpersonal outcomes are separate domains. Formal accountability is required because documented harm, prolonged ambiguity, and sustained indirect handling of these matters require responsible correction. That requirement is independent of any personal or relational considerations. I have not attempted to use legal pressure to force interpersonal outcomes. I have defined a framework through which documented harm can be addressed without indefinite continuation of ambiguity. Those are materially different things. Continued reliance on interpretations that collapse that distinction does not change my position. It will be treated as a refusal to engage these matters in a substantive way. Continued reliance on claims that my intentions are unclear, contradictory, impossible to responsibly understand, or somehow inherently unserious will be treated as a conscious refusal to engage these matters in good faith. My position has been stated with sufficient clarity for responsible action to be taken. I do not intend to restate it indefinitely. My willingness to communicate in a measured manner, my unwillingness to become theatrically reactive, and my refusal to engage in emotional exhibition for public consumption should not be mistaken for uncertainty, lack of seriousness, absence of harm, absence of resolve, or any extent of any kind of compromise of my integrity in any context at any time. It reflects control, not ambiguity. This is not an invitation to prolonged public commentary, serial interpretation, repetitive responsive exchanges, or indefinite procedural stalling, neither under the guise of ambiguity nor through any other mechanism. The relevant parties now have sufficient information to determine whether they are willing to engage in meaningful resolution without procedural escalation. If the observed pattern continues without substantive change, I will draw the appropriate procedural conclusion and proceed accordingly. I do not consider further clarification of my position to be necessary.